46-year-old female have to kids 18-year-old female and 15-year-old male with my ex-husband 46-year-old male. We got divorced over 10 years ago after I found out he was cheating and got his mistress pregnant. I was so deeply hurt by this. It took me a long time put myself together again. After our divorce was finalized, he got married to his mistress. They have 2 daughters, 10 and 7. Despite him being a POS to me, he was and still is a great father to our kids, and to not potentially ruin their relationship. I agreed to not tell him about the affair after he begged me to not say anything, and that he would tell them when the time is right. We share 50-50 its custody. Though since they are older, they now decide when they go where and for how long. I have been as civil as I could with the situation, for our kids' well-being, and put clear boundaries in place. Like there's no way on earth I would babysit their kids after they asked me once. 2 years after the divorce, I started dating a woman 43-year-old female. We're now married. Ex told me he felt like I never loved him since it turns out I'm into women, even though I told him I'm bi. The kids love her. She shares some interests with both the kids, and we all do our annual Star Wars marathon on winter break. Back in January, I started to feel like they were pulling away from us. At first I thought it was nothing, just kids being kids. But then they started to spend less and less time with us, and more with their dad. I was a bit jealous, I'll admit, but I was also getting worried because they were just not communicating with me at all. And when they did speak to me, they were just snapping at me or at my wife, rolling their eyes, etc. It was clear they were mad at us. So in mid-April, when my wife was out of the house, I sat them down and asked them what was going on, if they were okay. My daughter got really mad at me and started yelling that she was not okay because I led their dad on. I lied to him. I hurt him. And how could I be such monster to play with a good man's heart? And she stormed off to her room. I was really confused, so I asked my son, who was quite what her sister meant. He said their dad told them that we got divorced after I came out, and that I told him marrying him was the biggest mistake of my life. He started crying and asking why would I do and say such things, and that I didn't just hurt their father, but them and our family. Needless to say, I was furious. I told him to come with me. We went to his sister's room. I knocked on her door and begged her to let me in and let me say something. And she eventually opened the door. We sat on her bed and told them that what their father said was not true. She tried to argue, but I stopped her and asked her to let me talk. I asked them to think a bit and do some math regarding their sister's birthday. They couldn't get it, so I asked them her birthday. They tell me, and I tell them that 6 months prior we were in Disneyland having the time of our lives. They said they remember. So I asked them when did their father moved out? About a month after that trip. And when was their sister born? About 5 months after. They started to get it, and my daughter asked me I'm implying their father cheated on me. I said yes. She then grabbed her phone and called her Aunt X's sister and asked her if it was true her dad cheated on me. She had to beg her for an answer, and her aunt finally said yes. She called other family members to confirm. They both apologized to me and to my wife when she came home for how they have been treating us. They went to their dad's the following day and called us to ask if they can move all the things they have there to our house. Soon I had my ex on my door, yelling that I broke my promise and that I sabotaged his relationship with our kids. He didn't leave until I called the police. Our kids have since go low contact with him and his wife. They only go over there to pick up their sisters to hang out with them. My daughter disinvited them from her graduation. My son is no longer going to the boys' camping trip with his dad, uncles, and cousins. I've been getting texts and calls and voice mails from him and his family calling me an for ruining their relationship. And I've been starting to feel guilty because he is a good dad, and I did broke my promise. My wife says he crossed the line first. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I realized I'm bi when I started having feelings for my now wife. 2 years after the divorce. Prior to that I thought I was straight. My daughter has been sulking about not seeing something that was right in front of her. She said she had no reason to question anything, because her dad and I seemed okay with each other. Asked them if they wanted to go to therapy. My daughter said that she would like to start in the fall, once she's in her dorm. My son just wants to be left alone with this for a while. Someone said I should force them to go to counseling and talk to their father. It's like you'll have teenagers. I did tell them that what happened between their father and I is between us, and they can see him if they want. They just don't want to right now. They are mad because of the lying. Now for the top of advices. Not the a-hole respond with. I wouldn't have broken my promise if X didn't lie and tell them that we divorced due to me being bi. I care more about relationship with my kids than my ex. He made me a villain when he was the villain. I owed them nothing. Yet he tried to destroy me. Screw him. While I have told my kids I'm bi, my daughter said he told her. I say that now just for cover. And that I'm not into man at all. And that's why he said I let him on and play with his feelings, and his proof is that I've only been with women since the divorce, and that's technically true. But I've only been with only one person since then. Not the a-hole. He was a good dad until he did what is called parental alienation, where he told your kids lies about how and why you got divorced. He is the one who broke the agreement by trying to alienate your kids from you. Parental alienation is actually a thing in family court. My wife says he crossed the line first. Your wife is right. His own family even verified to your kids that his cheating is what broke up your marriage. Block the flying monkeys and get a restraining order against your ex. It shouldn't be hard since you have at least one police report on him for harassment. Story 2. So the key players in this story are me 27-year-old female, my husband Karim 40, my little sister Tasha 13, and my mom 58. For context, my mom and dad had Tasha as a last resort to fix their failing marriage. I'm nearly 9 months pregnant, like legit 3 weeks out, and my husband is a second-generation immigrant. We weren't trying, but we're excited when we found out about the baby. We waiting until we were out of the first trimester and told everyone after that. Karim's family are super excited and can't wait to bring the baby to their home country. My mom was happy when we told her but made some grumbling remarks about being too young to be a grandma. I presumed she was joking. My dad we told separately. He gets on great with my husband and he said he would help Karim and I with anything baby related. At first Tasha was excited talking about how she's the youngest auntie, and it was cute. She is spoiled. I don't want to call her a brat, but she can get an attitude when things don't happen how she wants. But then once we told everyone we were having a girl, she went quiet. We didn't do a big announcement, just told people when we saw them. We both have busy jobs and I kept working until recently. Luckily I can work remotely if needed. My dad was excited to be a girl granddad. In some ways I've been closer with him after the divorce. My mom put all her effort into Tasha and making sure she was ok as she was the youngest. She's a bit of a golden child for my mom. Karim's family got him a t-shirt that has a joke about being a girl dad on it. I've always said he gives off girl dad energy, so it's funny. When I got big around the 5-month mark, I was really ill. I had hyperemesis gravidarum and was admitted to hospital. I have a heart condition, so there was always a worry about side effects during the pregnancy. Tasha refused to visit me in hospital, meaning my mom didn't come either, but I understood why a 13-year-old might not want to come to a hospital. However, she has become so standoffish and rude to myself and my husband, scoffing when we talk about baby girl, joking how emotional I was, saying more trouble than it's worth with my heart. She said we stole her favorite name when we announced it as Adley. She's never said that name before. She also joked about how fat I had gotten. Karim had enough and told her to grow up. But my mom defended Tasha, saying she's probably just a bit jealous about no longer being the youngest in the family anymore. I tried to talk and ask her what's wrong, but she got an attitude again and told me I made everything about my baby and myself. We were discussing my birthing plan on a family FaceTime and how I have to have a planned C-section to reduce the stress on my heart. I'm a bit nervous, but I've had surgery before. I was trying to get my dad to calm Karim down and asked if he'd be in the waiting room. He was really happy and asked if he can bring his good friend. We all know she's his girlfriend, but they won't admit it. He thinks he's too old for that. She's been sweet and knitted some baby blankets, so we agreed to her visiting after the birth. I got a call from my mom and Tasha, who were really angry I hadn't invited them to the birth or told them I had to have planned C-section. I told them Tasha had complained about me only speaking about the baby, and my mom told me to not be so flippant. Tasha was rolling her eyes when mom asked about the surgery. And I know she's 13, but something about it seems so calculated from her. My mom asked to be there, and I said she could be in the waiting room if she would be nice to Dad. Tasha started talking about how long it would take, but I informed her she was only invited to visit after Adley had been born. Now her and Mom are blowing up, saying I'm cruel for letting a random friend of Dad's visit, but not letting my little sister be there for her niece's birth. I'm sad, as I hoped the pregnancy would bring my mom and I closer, but alas. Edit 1. I just remembered something else that happened. Tasha walked into our garden one afternoon without any notice to tell us, and saw us making out on the swing chair. Nothing scandalous, but my hormones have been all over the place. She made a comment like, "No wonder you're pregnant if that's all that you do." She's also been perfectly nice to Karim throughout the pregnancy. It's just me she has the attitude with. Edit 2. As some people can't seem to understand, I'll reiterate, I've tried connecting to Tasha. I've tried communicating and comforting her. I've tried getting her excited about being an auntie. She's made cruel comments about my weight. I used to have an exceptional durability. How I'm an attention seeker to get pregnant. She's literally slammed a door in me, causing me to hurt myself. She's been all over my husband, but ignoring me to my face. And she's made a comment about me not keeping my legs shut. This isn't about her being confused. She knows what childbirth and pregnancy is. She also banned our mom from visiting me when I was rushed to hospital and had complained about me talking about the baby, so I didn't include her in the conversation about the birth. She's not angry because I'm trying to keep her away from the baby. She's angry because I'm pregnant and she will no longer be the youngest girl. I'd like to add that the family dynamic was pretty good until I got pregnant. She was mom's favorite, but dad doesn't do favorites. Now for the top of advices before reading the update. Even if Tasha wasn't being a brat, you would never be wrong for not allowing a 13-year-old at your delivery. No 13-year-old is really ready to be your emotional support, and only the people who can do that for the mother belong at the delivery, even just the waiting room. Further, a 13-year-old is likely to need emotional support themselves, especially as this is a complicated pregnancy with a complicated delivery. Yes, the C-section may be the safest way to go, but it's not without its risks. A child shouldn't be present at all, period. Congratulations on your little one, and I wish you a simple and straightforward delivery and recovery. Surround yourself with love, and don't take any shit from anyone who can't do that over the coming weeks. Probably true. My niece had open heart surgery when she was 8. She's 12 now. And my son, who was 11, wasn't allowed to visit, but did let her borrow. And he was very specific on the borrow part, lol. His teddy bear, so I took it up for him. Mom, if she wanted to be a support person during my delivery, she should have acted supportive. I understand that you're upset because you have excused and enabled her behavior. But if you want your daughters to have a relationship, you need to fix the problem you created. Under no circumstances will I allow her to visit during delivery, and if she doesn't reel in her attitude, she will be waiting until we are home and settled. She is 13 and needs to understand that people don't like her if she acts like an ass to them. At 13, she can stay home or with dad while you visit. If you refuse to visit, I will take it as a sign that you endorse her behavior, and you will be kicked out every time she disrespects me or my child. You are definitely not in the wrong. Tasha is entitled beyond belief, and it's obvious she got it from your mom, unfortunately. You're going to be in a C-section. You deserve to have people who love and support you there. Tasha doesn't support you, and she's been beyond rude with all the comments she makes. Never leave her alone with your child. Tasha has no right to try to be in the room with you. Now for the updates. Updates 1. I want to address the comments saying I'm a bad sister. I hate Tasha. I need to reassure and comfort her and show her sympathy. We had a normal sister relationship until I announced my baby was a girl. Then she got an attitude change, but only with me. I've been trying to reach out and ask her reasons for being so horrible to me, calling me names and saying things about my baby, but she ignores me and won't talk to me. So I don't know what else I'm expected to do. I appreciate being a 13-year-old girl is hard. I was one once, but I didn't act like this. It's not my place to have to parent Tasha when she has 2 parents, a mom that spoils her, and when I'm about to have my own baby. My pregnancy has been hard and risky, and there is still a chance my daughter could be born with my heart defect. This and all of the stress caused by my mom and Tasha has meant I've not been able to enjoy my pregnancy. I had hoped it would make our mom want to be involved with me more, but unfortunately Tasha has done everything she can to ensure my mom has not been involved or helpful. Whilst my husband is patient and polite, he doesn't like the way they are treating me, and he certainly doesn't like the pressure it has put on me. Tasha and mom turned up unannounced to our house today, wanting another explanation as to why they couldn't be at the hospital. I again said as long as mom was civil to dad, she could be in the waiting room, but Tasha would have to visit after I've rested and made sure baby girl is ok. I said she had moaned for all of my pregnancy, that it's all I ever talk about, so surely she had no reasons to want to be there. She got angry and threw a mug at the wall, saying she wanted to be there as that's where everyone else would be, and she shouldn't have to be on her own and bored. I told her it was not a fun day out, I would be having major surgery, and people want to meet my daughter. She screamed saying I'm an attention whore for not giving birth the normal way and demanded our mom that they go home. So they left as quickly as they arrived. I know what my mom plans on doing, but yeah. Edit. Well, those of you who said to not tell anyone when I gave birth were right in a way. Woke up to cramps and blood-tinged water in our bed. So Karim rushed me to the hospital where my OB said I was in early labor caused by all of the stress most likely. There was too much pressure on my heart, and it was causing the baby to be in distress. So they put me under and gave me an emergency C-section. I woke up this morning to my husband holding our beautiful daughter in his arms. She perfect, with a healthy heart and a good pair of lungs. She's so beautiful, and I didn't know I could love something so much. She's such a good girl, and we've spent the morning together as a family. We will be inviting my dad to the hospital tomorrow. Thank you for the help and wishes, and sorry I could respond to many, but it's been very chaotic. Updates 2. Hi guys, I'm just really screwing confused right now, but thank you all for following my story and giving me advice. Rest assured we won't be leaving Adley alone with Tasha. If you want context, my first 2 posts are on my profile. Basically, after giving birth yesterday, I have to stay in for a week as it was an emergency surgery. As we had rushed to the hospital, we didn't have all the things I will need, so Karim went home to pack a bag of my things for me. He stopped off at my dad's, and apparently Tasha was with him. Karim was polite, and Dad was asking lots of questions about Adley and I. He left the room to get the presents he and his girlfriend had gotten for us, and Karim was left with Tasha. Apparently she was all over him, but not asking any questions about myself or Adley. Karim said she threw herself at him and tried to kiss him, but he swerved and got up abruptly, telling my dad that they needed to do something with Tasha as she was out of control. He told me what happened as soon as he got back to the hospital. He's really worried that people, my mother, will make him out to be a bad person. I think my dad has cameras in his house, so I'm going to ask him if there are any in the hallway. Edit 1. Tasha has texted me. Safe to say she's not being abused, and no, my mother doesn't have any male friends in the house. Tasha sent me a text saying she was sorry for trying to kiss Karim, but I've stolen everyone's attention, and apparently even our mother was asking about me yesterday. She sometimes literally refers to our mother as her mother. She then said I had to make it all about me by having Adley early, and she wanted someone to pay attention to her, and felt like Karim hadn't spent enough time with her recently. He's been kind to Tasha in the past. We've had her at our house and taken her on trips, but he's obviously been busy making sure me and the baby have been out during the pregnancy. Edit 2. Thanks for the support, guys. I developed a blood clot last night, so I was rushed into another surgery to deal with that, and Karim called my dad's girlfriend to stay with him as he was nervous, and my dad was with Tasha. She helped keep him calm by all accounts and showed him how to bathe Adley, which I'm very thankful for. She also baked me my favorite cake for when I woke up this morning. It was so screwing good anyways. Karim is fuming with my mother and Tasha, and how they've ruined this experience for us, and he wants to send my mother my hospital bill, as I wouldn't have needed the emergency surgeries without the stress. We're going to take a trip once I'm released from the hospital to the countryside, and get some distance between us and them. Story 3. I know the title sounds bizarre, but hear me out. My wife and I used to be neighbors. I was working as an electrician at that time. I saw her the day she moved in. She looked really sad and lonely. I decided to help her move in because there was no one to do that for her. From then, we used to bump into each other a lot. I wanted to speak more to her, but she never seemed interested in me. One day I saw her crying in front of the stairs. She looked really devastated. From there, I got to know her story. She has dealt with a lot of health issues. She had multiple cysts in her breasts that she had to go in operations. She was also suffering from polycystic ovary syndrome, which actually affected her fertility. She used to be married to a man, but he cheated on her with her best friend and got her pregnant. Then he kicked her out and slapped her with divorce paper. I sat there with her because I know she needed a real friend. I wasn't really expecting anything in return. We got closer and closer, and I finally grew some balls to ask her out. I didn't care if she could give me kids or not. I just wanted to be with her because she is an awesome lady and life wasn't fair towards her. We dated for a few years and then got married. She has been my rock. I wanted to go back to school and finish my diploma, and she has supported me through it. I always tell her that I am really lucky to have her in my life. I never knew what family felt like until I married her. I grew up in an abusive family. It took me years of therapy to cope with it. But with her, I feel like I have peace in my life. I love her so much that words are not enough to express it. Now, as I am writing this, she is sleeping on my lap while she was watching a Barbie marathon. I know one other thing about her. It is that she is pregnant and hasn't told me. The only reason I know, because I found her planner when I borrowed her laptop for something. I opened it and discovered she has planned to tell me about the pregnancy 3 days later on our wedding anniversary. Can't say I haven't noticed it yet. I have observed her breasts have become bigger and her moods have shifted. She also vomits in the morning. I will not spoil this surprise for her. I know it makes me sound like a bad person, but in a way I am glad her husband cheated on her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had this angel in my life. I mean, think about it. If her husband hasn't cheated on her and left her, we would probably never meet and will go by my life like a helpless person trying to cope with loneliness. I am glad it happened, and I am sure she feels that too. Just not the way I do. If I ever encounter her husband, I will probably punch him first, then hug him, and say thank you and screw you, you piece of shite. Now for the top of advices. You have to practice in the mirror your surprise face. I imagine you hugging her and kissing. You two are already a family. You will add one more little one to the mix. Hopefully everything goes well. She will need your patience, love, and help more than ever. Happy for you. I'm glad my ex-husband cheated on me too. Like your wife, I struggled with polycystic ovary syndrome and infertility despite trying for a decade. After he left me, I thought that this was the end, and there was no way I would ever find love or be loved. Who knew that the perfect man, in my eyes, at least, would come along? I'm also 3 months pregnant now. So congratulations to you and your wife. Wishing you guys all the happiness in the world. As someone else put it, it does sound bad when you read it at first, but I understand the feeling. You have the love of your life and you met her because unfortunately something bad happened to her. I would probably phrase it more like, I'm happy that I noticed my future wife on one of her saddest days and was there to support her, so that I could meet her and eventually become her soulmate. Good on you all around, man. I cried while reading this. Your wife is a lucky woman to have such an amazing husband. Cherish each other. I truly believe in soulmates, and you have been blessed to find yours. Congratulations on the baby. That's all for today. If you are enjoying this story, please like and subscribe to our channel.